Today, guys, we'll be going over our clear of the S.A.B.E.R Grandmaster Nightfall. It's not really going to be a guide, as there's much more efficient ways out there from more experienced fire teams, but this could offer some other insight if maybe you don't have some of the items available that the other guys give advice on using. So today, for this one, I took advantage of my Hunter instead of my Warlock like usual. I was running a protective light build using taking charge and charged up, as well as running double primaries. I was running a bow, as you can see in the background gameplay, as well as Night Watch in my Anarchy. And then Jellyfish, the other hunter, was also running a Night Watch for anti-barrier, but instead of using a bow, he was using a sword. And then he was also using Witherhoard for DPS. We went with Overload Sword because we had issues getting ganged up on in the second area. You'll see some of the gameplay where it came in handy. Then our Titan Leo was running Ursa, taking advantage of anti-barrier sniper. And then Overload SMG and running Anarchy. He was using Warmind as opposed to charged with light build. So one of the things that we wanted to focus on when we were doing this strike is we wanted to keep our distance. We weren't doing so well staying up close and battling like some of the other guys we were watching, and it took a lot of trial and error to kind of find what worked for us. And so we settled on using 2 hunters, running top tree void with 6 coyote exotic chest pieces for 2 dodge charges to take advantage of the invisibility for escaping and reviving as well. You'll see in some of the gameplay, Jellyfish uses it to advance and attack overloads with his overload guillotine. So the biggest thing we try to do though is just stay in the back, and then when you're in this first area, we had to make sure that we took down the fallen ship guns. Those really caused a lot of issues for us, forgetting to call them out when they came in. I believe it was at 38 on the counter for the war stat, and about 70 is when the ships rotate, something to kind of keep in mind. Then you'll kind of see from the background gameplay, we just kind of take our time here, chipping away, trying not to rush too much and causing ourselves excess deaths that we didn't need. We still have some in here, but we're able to overcome them, which is nice. So moving on, once we cleared the war stat part, the other issue we had was this second room. This was probably what took us the longest to figure out a viable strategy that worked for us. So what you're going to see is when we come in this room, we spend a lot of our time to the right from the entry side, kind of poking our head out, dealing with adds and champions as needed. It kind of provides extra cover from the opposite side. We do get overran a little bit, but we're able to get through that, you'll see. And then once we clear the first set, and then it comes to opening up the vent in the back, you'll notice that we still hug the stair side, and that allows us to continue taking on the champions and the adds. There's a lot of tracer shanks and invisible guys that come out in the second wave once you flip sides of the room. That really gave us a lot of issues, and so this was kind of the strategies we found that suited with us best. You'll see that we used the Ursa to kind of clear the shanks and other adds out before we attack the champions. We found that that was what worked best for us. Ultimately, you want to try to figure out how your fire team operates best. It took quite a few runs for me to get used to being the hunter as opposed to the warlock. Rifts down and things of that nature. So once we got past the second room, you'll see coming up, when we got inside where the where you got to grab the arc charge, and there's the little arc bolts traveling up the wall, we let Jellyfish go up since he was our best runner at that, which is ultimately what you want to do, is you want to designate your best runner. You'll see that we clear the first round of shanks that come down, Leo and I. Then once that happens, I shoot a tether and tether the last round of shanks as he's depositing the arc orb. And the reason we do that is because we kept running into issues with planting anarchies or vortex grenades or things of that nature, where that exploder shank and regular shank would drop down, and it was costing us a death, if not more, because it would blow up and kill the orb carrier. So we found that by placing a tether, it would disable them but not cause them to explode. And then you'll see at the end of it there, after Jellyfish plants the charge, we just kind of crouch and wait. Shanks wander off and disappear. And then, you know, it's real simple and easy. You don't got to waste a bunch of bullets trying to keep that clear and waste deaths trying not to get blown up or zapped by arc charges getting revives. So once we move on from that room, we got this room with the overloads and the barrier. You'll see that we just poke in and out of the door. We slowly wear down the ads, taking advantage of the Witherhoard. You'll see that was actually quite helpful. And then as the overloads rush, we attack if needed. You'll see that a couple times they get in and out without us taking them out. And so we just try to wear down some of the ads, mainly the tracer shanks that occupy the opposite side of the room or left side of the room catwalk. And then from there we just slowly work out. We want to try to take out the barrier first as well too, as he shields the overloads, which causes a lot of issues trying to get rid of them, or, you know, just taking care of anything in general. So we focus on the barrier and then we move through the overloads, and you'll see that we take our time a little bit, but we get through it. And then moving forward, we got the little, I guess, I don't know what to call it, the area right before the boss. We again here we sit, you'll see we sit outside the hallway, pick off the few unshielded guys that we can from the barrier champion up there. You see us stick some Anarchies on him with their hordes, and then from there we want to try to again take him out before we go in and tackle the rest of the room, as he causes issues, as well as just in general all of the enemies that are up there cause a lot of issues. And so we don't want to, you know, we want to try to limit deaths as always. So we want to get into that last room as many revives as possible, and hopefully we won't need them. So you'll see once we get everything taken care of up on the top part, Leo's going to pop a Ursa. We try to deal with the overloads as we can. You'll see here in a minute, Jellyfish kind of goes around and hits him with some overload sword. We take advantage of the tether for damage here. Spread it out, keep it going, and for the stuns and stuff. So just take your time here. You want to try to focus your fire on one champion if you can. It does get a little hard as they bounce back and forth. But once we take them out one at a time, then we move on to the boss room. So once we get into the boss room, you'll notice that we spend a lot of the time in the first parts of the fight off to the right, behind the little panels that pop up along the wall, dancing in and out, taking care of Shanks. You'll see I spend a lot of time clearing Shanks while Leo and Jellyfish focus on the boss and the champions a bit more. I'll still pitch in and help there. And so we go through the 2 damage phases, which will be the first half of his health. You'll see he's broke down into quarters. So once you get through the second one, when you take out the second barrier champion, and then he loses his fire cannon, and he'll switch to the void, you'll see that we're going to rotate to the left side of the room and spend the rest of the fight there. We found that in the end we just ended up with more cover, as well as the large arc conductor pillars that come up at the front of this right area. They become electrified, and that rotates throughout the fight, and we just noticed that we kept getting mixed up in fighting, or, you know, trying to move around, and we kept bumping into them, and it kept causing us deaths, getting zapped, and then we would lose more trying to get the revive because we get too close. And so then that's when we decided to try the other side, and we found that that was actually what let us get over that hump that we weren't able to. And the other big thing you want to know is once you get to the second half of those health bar, there'll be a steady supply of tracer shanks and exploder shanks coming out. So you want to kind of make sure you're keeping an eye on the exploder shanks. They don't rush too much, but they will catch you off guard if you're not paying attention. The biggest threat that we found for us was the tracer shanks. So you'll see that we kind of take, you know, precedence on them. You'll see that I take a lot of time just sticking the boss with the Anarchy, and then mostly clearing out ads. That was really what made a big difference. I found that the bow worked the best. You don't see a lot of it in the gameplay, but through multiple trials, the bow was what seemed to work the best, especially once they got frenzy rolling on it. That extra 20% damage was allowing me to one-shot a lot of the weaker ads, and it made a big difference. So we just kind of stuck to the edge, and you'll see how we executed our strategy and what worked out well for us. So hopefully that there's some stuff in here that can help you, or maybe you didn't think of. So yeah, I'll go ahead and put a playthrough of the rest of the strike, or the full strike after this. This will just be kind of a chopped down short version, skipping through some of the areas. So I appreciate you stopping by. You know, eyes up, Guardian, good luck, and let's go.